Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming one of the great cult movie actresses who has been gone for a while, but not forgotten. And I am talking about Nicole Rio. You all know her from three cult classics in 1986, The Visitants, The Zero Boys, and Sorority House Massacre. And I'm having her on the show today to talk about those three movies, plus a couple others that she did after, like Gang Justice. And she ended up becoming a producer and forming a production company. And I want to find out how and when that came about, and whether or not she's going to act again, I guess. I did see she's done a couple of shorts, but I don't know if that was just, a fluke or not, or if she's serious about getting back into acting. So, here is my interview with Nicole Rio.
Hello.
Hey, Nicole. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I am just wonderful. How are you?
Good. You sound wonderful. It's so nice today, I bet.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The honor's all mine.
Awesome. So, going back...
Yes, sir.
Going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting early on in your childhood?
Yes, absolutely I did. I think I was, as far as I can remember, I think it was actually fifth grade when I was in an acting class with Amy Sherman, who's now a huge Emmy Award-winning writer. And her and I were best friends, and her mother taught the class. So we did a lot of plays and a lot of improv at her house, and it was so much fun. And, I just kind of got the bug early on. I come from a very involved show business family.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a vaudevillian performer. He also was a manager in the industry. He managed people like Carmen Miranda and Bob Hope.
Wow.
Very, very old school we're talking about. Oh, yeah. If my father was alive today, he'd literally probably be, I think, about 114 or something like that. So he was very much integrated in the business when, even film was starting out, because it was big then to be a show business vaudevillian performer. So, and he started one of the first agencies for actors called AGVA to protect their rights. Mm-hmm. Within the industry at the time. And then I had a brother who was a cinematographer, another brother who was a huge music agent, represented the Pointer Sisters, and so I was kind of grew up around these icons, but still not knowing exactly, that they were icons. They were just people to me. So I felt quite natural around that atmosphere. And so acting was really kind of a fun adventure for me. It was never a worry or a stress or anything. I just had a great time doing it, and so I just wanted to keep doing it into my, 20s.
Wow, that is just amazing. 114, and he knew what he knew, like George Burns and the Marx Brothers and all those guys.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to hang out at the Friars Club and sit on, Milton Berle was there and sit amongst these, icons. Bob Hope, we would go to his house and hang out. I just didn't realize the people that were surrounding me, because I was so much younger than my half siblings. So, but I really took it all in, and I thought these were a crazy bunch of people. and how fascinating are they? And then later in life, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would have known. I would have really taken notes and got into their heads and really interviewed them about their lives and their journeys. But hopefully that'll be another movie down the line, because now, as you know, I've kind of moved into producing. So I want to definitely bring my father's story to life, because, being in the trenches with so many icons in this business throughout the years, there's really a story that's never told, that's so personable and, enlightening and relatable. So I want to kind of bring those stories to the forefront moving forward, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I bet everyone was sitting around joking with Milton Berle about how big his dick was.
Oh, my God. I know, and it's really interesting because, oh, gosh, don't even get me started. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a show business, and, you know, those jokes ran around the circles, you know, quite often. So growing up around that, I think you just become numb to, you know, the seriousness of some of those comments now, and that people are kind of fighting to shift around. But definitely it was a lingo, it was a culture, whole different culture. But it was so fascinating to be around too, and also inspiring. You know, these were people that were quite talented and made their mark in this industry. So, you know, very, very interesting life I've had.
I'm a comedian. We still talk like that to each other.
You know what? I am too at heart. My father was a comedian, and I have to watch myself. I'm like, okay, but you know, it's a shame because some of it is all in fun and play, as we know, and you know, comedians are probably the most serious and introspective people that I know. But you know, in reality, we make fun of ourselves, and in making fun of ourselves, we have to call out life how it is. And, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of oversensitive people out in the world right now. So we have to kind of monitor all of that at this point. But hopefully it will start to shift a little more again.
It will. And I don't censor myself at all. I'm not afraid. Because these people, they're being paid to be oversensitive. There's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes there.
You know what, I agree, and I decided not to speak out too much about it.
Yeah.
But I am, you know, still in the trenches. I have a daughter that's in the trenches, and for me, we haven't seen the results of these movements happening with these women protecting anybody that we are in the trenches with because we're not celebrities.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak out against some celebrities that have suffered at the hands of certain people and have suffered some pain. But I have very specific opinions about even the women that are heading these organizations, and I'd like to have that conversation with them at one point and with the women around me, because I feel like, you know, definitely there's, you know, there's some misdirection there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you, you know, and we also need to, you know, protect our child actors from, you know, pedophile directors and producers and all that. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and, you know, it's interesting because I feel like we've still got a ways to go, but at least, you know, there's a lot of people integrating the business that are, you know, trying to bring as much to the forefront as possible and, you know, working on having a voice, but, you know, a lot of people are still being protected, as we know. So, you know, we can just continue to break through that and protect, you know, the children that we know are in the business firsthand, you know, not assume they're being protected. We just really need to pay more attention.
Exactly, yes. So you did school plays and community theater growing up?
I did not a lot of community theater. I did do high school plays, and, you know, I was an extra on Vacation with Chevy Chase, which I take pride in.
Really?
I remember yes. You can see me running into the shot as they're leaving for vacation, and their luggage falls completely off of their car as he backs out of the garage. You know, that's me running up going, hey, yay, yay, bye, bye. So one of the neighbor's kids. But, you know, I still remember vividly sitting and having those conversations with those actors, you know, on set. And growing up, my brother was, you know, a DP on The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby.
Oh.
So I was always on around these artists, and it really, really inspired me, you know, to have a voice as an actor. So I always kept going. And then I went to UCLA, and it was the year when it was really hard for everyone to get in, and I was living in Dykstra Hall, and I happened to audition for this movie called The Zero Boys. And I told my mom I was leaving because I got the part, and this is what I wanted to do. And literally, she had a meltdown. And I said, well, for me, and I do believe this, there's film school that I wish that I could have explored and things like that. But, for business and the acting world, I really felt college was not the place for me, because that's really all I was focusing on. And to have the opportunity to work in something that I love to do, and just starting out at 18, 19 years old, having been performing and acting since I was, 11 or 12, it was an opportunity that I couldn't,
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving and doing that movie, and then that's when Sorority House Massacre followed that.
That is just crazy, though, about vacation. I just interviewed Dana Barron a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God, I remember talking to Dina on set, and I remember thinking specifically, she told me she was 18, and I was thinking, because when you're younger, 18-year-olds seem so old. I'm like, oh my God,
yeah.
I thought you were my age. I remember that. I love Dina. She was so sweet, and I thought she was the prettiest girl I've ever seen. That was so funny that you brought her up.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's an interesting character, but she's awesome.
Right. She's still acting, right? She's still doing things.
Here and there, yeah, but she's dedicating her time to, like, charities and causes and stuff.
Oh, that's really, really important, and I love hearing that. It's kind of where now I want to expand my career into, because I've spent so many years, working really hard at certain things, and I didn't get a chance to really have a voice and help out those who didn't or can't quite help themselves. And I really, really focused on doing that as well, this chapter of my life, I should say.
Yeah. So The Zero Boys was the first of the 3 movies you did in 1986.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get into that one first.
Okay.
I like that movie an awful lot. I'm good friends with Kelly Maroney, and I've heard her say that everyone went through hell on this movie, but what was your experience like?
It's funny because Kelly was actually a mentor to me, I remember, because at the time she, was a name actress and
yeah.
still is. And I literally was walking on set, doe-eyed and, just not understanding even the, direction back to one, or not understanding when the camera was on me and when it wasn't. So for me, being in those trenches, and yeah, I do remember people sleeping over at my house because we had such grueling night shoots. And
yeah.
for me, it was just a different experience because it was my first experience. So everything was incredible and fun. And, oh, look at this. We're working, 18 hours and we get to all sleep on the floor together. For me, it was just like this experience that I would always just, wanted to have. And what's interesting is at the time is I didn't even fit the role. When Nico Masterakis was casting, the description in the breakdown was exotic, woman who's sexy and this and that. And I was just this kid it was voluptuous and big hair. It was the 80s, and just came on set and, he changed the whole role for me. He's like, okay, we're going to have you eat pizza now. We're going to have you have this whole other character. So I didn't have to worry about my weight or, my appearance. I was like, oh my God, and I get to eat pizza too? This is a dream come true.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. And, and I love that, we didn't have, or I didn't experience a lot of those issues that I see, a lot of the young actresses going through today. It was just a different vibe. It was just, I was just there to have fun, and, and I did. So, but I know, I could understand why Kelly would say it was a hard shoot because, there were some safety issues that were broken. I think I was we were thrown into the woods when we were filming, and I remember the one scene where there was this rattlesnake that had to crawl up my clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had a handler on set that they kept saying, it's breaking its sutures, we should stop. And, Nico's, of course, going, no, one more take. So that fear you see on my face is real.
Nice.
I was terrified that snake was about to bite my face. But it was all in the name of art. So, it's interesting how many risks we take, as opposed to now, when I'm on the other side and on the producing side, I'm like, nobody risks anything. Is it worth it? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Kelly. I still do. She was an amazing, person to me on set and friend, and so I'll always hold her dear to my heart because, again, that was my first experience. So
she was the first friend I made when I came out to Hollywood for the first time in adulthood back in 2016. I was coming off of a bad car accident the year before, and I went to a convention and I met her, and she had a theater performance that week, and I told her I was going to make it, and she was surprised that I actually made it because I'm sure she hears that from fans all the time,
Of course.
She was so touched that I showed up. Next day, I wake up in my hotel in Burbank, and I get a friend request from her on Facebook. I accepted it, and I cried. I just could not believe it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, those are the moments we remember. And, show business can be glitzy and glam, but those little moments are truly what we remember. I feel more than even the bigger moments because there's something so genuine and so, connected about those moments. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
That sounds like Kelly.
Yeah. I love her. I love her line in the movie. My name is Jamie. I'm from Minnesota. I play tennis and I fuck on the first date.
Oh my God! And I remember filming that scene too.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh my God, she's so good at just flowing those words together.
I know.
When I had my big crying scene, and it was like 3 a.m, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just giving my all, and it was 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And Kelly kept saying to me, just hold it. And I'm like, well, why are you saying hold it? So I realized the camera wasn't even on me for 2 hours. So now the camera's turned up. I'm exhausted. How am I going to pull this out of my hat after, 2 hours? So I really watching my back. I'm telling you.
You're starting to break up a little bit.
Okay.
Hello?
You are.
Okay.
And I'll move.
Okay.
It was just a really great experience. And in a car accident right before we started shooting and was in a cast. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but we ended up painting a tube and making it look like it wasn't a cast. I don't know what we did, but it worked. And I just kind of limped a little bit when I was running in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was just very, very hands-on, very nurturing, and I just had such a great experience with all those actors. And I think actually the Visitants might have come after Sorority House Massacre, because I remember Marcus and I did the Visitants together, and Marcus and I had, I thought, did Sorority House Massacre before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Rick on. He's an interesting guy, He told me his mission with every movie is to offend people, and I told him, I said, your movies have never offended me, and he said, well, then I haven't done my job.
It's true. He's so funny, but that's very, very true. But I still think he maybe wasn't, as offensive as he probably thought he was. But
yes.
That was his mission, and I love that about him,
Yes.
So I think he's still doing films and still putting his voice out there, right?
Right. I think he's trying to make a new movie and stuff. He couldn't go deep into detail, but I think, he's still trying to do that. But how great was Jordana Capra?
Oh, amazing. She was amazing. She was beautiful. I was in awe of her. She looked like a supermodel every time she showed up on set,
Yeah.
But we had such a fun time, and again, I think she was a tad older than me, and I just loved working with her. She was, to have these kinds of friendships on set and these women mentors was very special, I don't hear sometimes a lot of that happening anymore in these smaller independent films.
Right.
So it was really lovely to kind of keep, that energy going throughout the years in my 20s too.
Yeah.
Really great.
What
Yeah.
I loved doing the podcast with her. We got along great because we're both perverts.
Well, she kind of toned it down around me. I guess she thought I couldn't handle it, but yes, I think I could imagine. She is completely powerful in speaking her mind and making no apologies. So I love it.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall with you guys in a room together. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. God, it would be just a scream. There's no other way of describing it. Yeah, her performance in the movie reminds me so much of Mary Woronov. Just that, commanding presence.
I know. You can't take your eyes off of her for sure.
Yeah.
I have to say. Even in person, she's just got that thing that you can't learn and, you can't create. So, and I know that she went on to do a lot of, of things she wanted to do in her life, I think, career-wise and otherwise. So.
Yeah. Was the schedule crazy? Because it was only shot in 9 days.
Gosh, it was. But again, it was one of my first things, and I just love being around the creatives and love, our, ability to get some input and play a little bit, which Rick allowed because we were all kind of flying by the seat of our pants going, okay, what are we going to do here? I remember one of the aliens, I don't know, something happened with one of the aliens, so we created an alien with a sock
Yeah.
or something like that, and then like, I guess this will work, okay, so it was a fun time. I mean, I have no complaints. Again, I've worked, throughout my life many, many hours on set and many, many hours doing things that I didn't like. So to have the privilege to do what I did like, it didn't seem like long days at all to me or hectic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certain filmmakers from that time, like David Dakota, and I hate to mention Fred Olin Ray in this context because I know him and Rick hate each other. They used to shoot movies in like a week, like 5 days to like 8 days or something, and their budgets were like $40,000-$50,000, and I can't believe that they pulled that off. I mean, that is just genius.
I can't believe it either, and it is genius because I'll tell you, you can't make movies, and you couldn't make movies like you can today. And so to be able to pull it off the way they did is incredible, honestly. I know now it's easier for filmmakers to get their stuff out there and get it made for a lot lower budget, but for what they had to do back then, it's so admirable.
Yeah. Well, I think you could make those kind of movies today, but you'll have a lot less. You'll have a lot more time and less time because back then they used film and they were shooting for 16 hours a day sometimes. But like now, you could be in and out in like 2 or 3 hours. Because they got digital.
Absolutely. And you can fix things. Like back then, you couldn't really fix things that happened. You either got it or you didn't. I learned producing this recent film that I did. It's wow, the technology and the talent and the young people that, I thought was going to be a big issue with continuity. They're like, oh, no, we can fix that. And that's like, what? You can? Great. Okay. Go. So it's just, so again, I do miss the energy of those days. I have to be honest. I do miss the enthusiasm and the resourcefulness and, I don't know, it was just a different time, and as an artist, it was really fun to be involved in those movies, to be a part of that.
Yeah. I hope they come back in a certain way. It's funny. I want to be a horror host, right? Because I watched all these movies on USA Up All Night when I was a kid, and they were brand new back then, but now they're classics.
Yes.
And, we've seen, Night of the Living Dead and Little Shop of Horrors and Carnival of Souls a million times, since, they came out on Creature Features shows. Now we need to show, these movies,
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's interesting is still...
You're breaking up again.
move, I promise, Tommy.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
Better?
It's better. It's better.
Okay. I think horror never gets old for any audience. And I know that even recently, Sorority House Massacre had a theater a few years ago, and I couldn't believe the line around the block.
Mm-hmm.
Young people, and Butter right now is a writer, and she's obsessed with horror. She's writing an amazing horror movie right now. She just wrote a film called Aftermath that Peter directed and produced. That was a horror thriller. So I think Ashley Greene is in it, John Ashmore and Rick Barron and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she's this realm that just never dies, and people stay so excited about. But it would be cool to kind of bring more of that, and it's progressive. I guess you got to keep up with the times.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's a goal of mine and stuff, I mean, it's also difficult getting the money because, those other movies I just mentioned, they're all in the public domain,
Yeah, for sure. That's the truth. Well, a lot of filmmakers in our day that were the big filmmakers are just remaking their own films now, too. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So, it's like, but I want to see new stories and new content. And so I'm excited about that, too. I don't really know if I want to revisit all of that because it was so charming and in the day so great.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different feel now. So I'd like to see other things happening. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Where everyone goes.
Yeah. So, Sorority House Massacre, that was another one I used to watch on USA Up All Night. How was that experience?
Well, I mean, they didn't hire me at first.
Mm-hmm.
I think I set my picture in probably literally 6 different times, and I heard it was cast, and all of a sudden, I guess they lost the actress for some reason that was playing Tracy, or there was some kind of fallout, and all of a sudden they need to replace that role within a day. And so I heard about it, and I went in person, and I said, I'm here, I want to audition for this, and I gave them my headshot, and they looked at it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is you? We threw this headshot in the trash like 5
Oh my God, that's fucked up.
Like, you don't look like this. I'm like, oh, really? So they said, okay, so my audition was to in the corner, everything was getting stabbed.
Yeah.
As you know, that's what ended up in the film, and someone called.
Oh, you're breaking.
So I was just saying how great it was because, we got to spend a lot of time together as a cast, and, it was many people's first or second film, so we were all really excited and, really learning from each other and giving each other real to breathe, so it was really fun. I actually had a lot of friends from that.
Mm-hmm.
So it just felt like we were just all together in this house. Wow. So,
Yeah.
And I was a little nervous about the sleepy scene, though, I have to say. But got through that, and, and then my 80-year-old father's like, you got to do what you got to do, honey. But what was interesting now is I believe Carol Frank, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the first female directors that had supported it.
Mm-hmm.
And the few.
Yeah.
Really cool. He was great to work with,
Yeah. And Carol Frank, this is like her only movie. Is she still around? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
Movie. She was. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Tommy? Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah. It's better.
She was. I said I was very shocked that it was her only movie because she was very, very creative. She was, had the presence of a director for sure and everything that encompasses the title. So I am pretty surprised, especially when Roger Corman has been creative for so many directors. band. So I'm not quite sure what happened to her.
Yeah. I know Angela O'Neill became a prop master.
Yes, she did. That's crazy. I heard she's quite good at her job, so that's amazing. So she stayed in film. That's fantastic.
I used to be a prop master for theater.
Have a reunion.
Yeah, I used to be a prop master for theater.
Oh, is it a hard job?
Not at all. I mean, okay, when you're doing a musical, you know, you have to hear the same fucking songs over and over again. That gets to be boring.
Yes.
But you stand there.
Yes.
You stand there backstage. You interact with the cast. You know, you hand them the props and stuff. I mean, it's pretty chill and pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. That would be fun, and to be around all that, you know, film and theater is fun too. To be around in that culture, I think is very fun.
Yeah. Nico gave you a role in Terminal Exposure.
I got kidnapped for a hot second.
Yeah.
Release, and I was, yeah, let's go. And then we lost touch, and I think Nico might know. I'm not sure. I know a couple years ago or a few years ago he was, but I loved him. He gave me so much confidence.
Yeah.
So he just like, you know, you're a little star, and, you know, he just really protected me on those shoots and really believed in me. And, you know, when you're young, you just don't know. It's a hard business to navigate business-wise, you know, for artists. And now more and more artists are being asked to navigate their business, even above agents and managers that they're working with. So, you know, it's not easy sometimes being so young and just wanting to play and wanting to be in that, you know, atmosphere, and then having to be hustling and bustling and getting, you know, work and getting agents and getting this. And so it was kind of, you know, a challenge when you don't have a lot of mentors in your life from the business end to kind of navigate through all of that.
Yeah.
And so I think Nico was a great ally for me, but, you know, you're so young and you just, you know, you lose touch with people that really could have mentored you in that business side of it a little bit more too.
Yeah. And then you did Gang Justice. What was Eric Estrada like?
Amazing. He was fun. Are you kidding me? He was chipped.
I heard that.
I was in awe. Eric Estrada. Who isn't in awe of Eric Estrada back then?
Yeah, but I heard when he did Chips, his ego was huge, and I heard later it was because he had so much pressure from management, you know, to act like a huge star and everything. But like he saw it later once he realized that he had, you know, hurt some people. Then, you know, he became very humble.
Yeah, it was. I mean, back then we were young, and you know, it is true. And also, he was from a culture, and he was representing a culture at that time that was very, underrepresented.
Right.
So, I mean, I think there was even double pressure on it, because even back then we didn't know, you know, as much as we're wanting to have inclusion in entertainment now, it didn't exist back then. So not only was he representing that minority, he was, you know, he had to keep up with the Joneses. So I can imagine the pressure of that. And nobody really knows that pressure. You know, you can only imagine. But, you know, I had the privilege to work in the trenches with many celebrities in the past 15 years and be their right-hand person and be in the trenches with them emotionally and otherwise. And it's not what people think.
Yeah.
You know, there definitely is a lot of pressure. And I remember seeing emails from certain A-list stars just distraught, you know, because they loved what they did, but that fame and that pressure, that's not what they expected. So it comes with the territory. It's not a matter of being grateful. It's just a matter of not understanding how to navigate it emotionally and otherwise. And a lot of these artists cannot. So they're very misunderstood in the business. And unfortunately, because of that, yeah, they get some kind of reputation that isn't fair all the time. But I think when I worked with him at that time, obviously he was humbled and he was very grateful to be there. And I never felt any of that from him, where I had it from other people being around them, you know, throughout the years. So
yeah.
I think he figured himself out, you know, but he was an icon and he always will be in that respect. So, you know, he has that to always know that he was a part of creating that for himself and for the fan base, because, you know, he made a difference.
Yeah, I hope George Lopez can get over it, because he met him when he was 16, when he was having that ego trip, and he said it wasn't a good meeting.
Yeah, well, I can tell you some superstars right now that are hurting a lot of people out there.
Yep.
In real life, but giving the illusion that they support and empower, women and children. So it is very sad.
Yep.
But, like I said, hopefully that will start to shift in the next few years, and there will be more transparency, and it will really count, the way that you behave in the world as opposed to the way you behave when the camera's on you.
Yep.
And you having the right protocol and the right things to say, and that manipulation will stop, and the real heroes will start to illuminate, I think.
Oh yeah, I can give you a list of people in the horror community, because I'm immersed in that. There's a lot of popular people who won't come on my podcast because I'm politically incorrect, and they're doing that, that political correctness thing, and horror is not meant to be politically correct.
Right, exactly. It's supposed to have fun and just, whatever it is, it's its own thing. But, because also people, they're either way too opinionated,
right,
and don't know how to really back that opinion up with intelligence or, an understanding of what they're taking a stand on, or they're just afraid to say one word, which unfortunately right now can be turned around into something different. Not that you would turn it around, but someone could hear it and completely run with it. So I think it's a couple of those things. And then there's just those who are in their ego and just, take offense to things instead of taking it as an opportunity. They see it as something else. So exactly. I think it's silly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you gave up acting to start a production company called Laboria Films?
I did a long time ago, Lemuria Films, and I kind of attempted to reboot that last year, but, it's very hard when you're putting together a team to create a company together. A lot of people don't understand what teamwork really means and what an agenda means as a team as opposed to a personal agenda to have a team to back that up. So for me, it's been a challenge to create a company that really sticks because so many people have, these agendas that aren't focused on filmmaking or storytelling. So now I think I just went independent, and I developed Salt and Light Films now as an independent producer. And as I do project to project as an independent producer, I'll start to gather those people and those individuals that are truly on the same path and agenda and really understand what teamwork is, as a whole. And so I'm really heading towards that. I've been very fortunate to just have our first film done under Salt and Light. First film for me as a producer. And so that 16 years in the trenches with Brian Grazer and J-Lo and all of these people had really taken flight, especially on a lower budget film when you probably have 5 positions outside of producer on the project to make sure the project gets done. So that was film school 101 for me, but we came through with flying colors, and I'm really, really proud of what we have. And it's not horror, but the next one will be, I'm sure. I'm working with the same writer-director, Dakota Foreman, again, who I said is scripting a couple horror films now that I just really love what she's come up with. It was a great experience, but I do miss being in front of the camera. I don't miss being in the trenches of what actors and actresses have to go through right now, and I think there's such an oversaturation of people, and it is hard because it's the only business where, inspiring wise that you can walk into and get a series tomorrow because you have a pretty face or someone. And then there's also, building and getting in the trenches for years and being very talented. There's just no rhyme or reason. It's not something where if you're really talented, it's going to happen. And there's frustrated to find one's way through that, especially a woman now who I'm in their 50s. You know, I'm 50, whatever I am now. 50. You know, I always do it a year ahead, so then I look good for that age. Anyway, but I'm proud of my age. I don't have any qualms with it because I earned this age. And I still have, you know, a young energy to me, and, you know, my skin still shines. So without Botox or anything like that, if that's not politically correct to say, but you know, I have never done it, never will. So for me, I'm embracing who I am more, but navigate through a business that is so, just the gatekeepers are just not operating on a lot of integrity. You know, I felt storytelling behind the scenes would be a better place for me right now. And if I happen to find a project that fits something that I'm really inspired to do, I may, you know, attempt to put myself in front of the camera again at one point.
Yeah, you have so much exuberance to you, I'll tell you. Yes. And yeah, you don't need Botox. I'll tell you, I've interviewed a lot of women with Botox. They are in their own little world, I'll tell you. I think they constantly take painkillers because they're constantly in pain or something. And they're just so...
Oh, you know. Yep.
They're so full of themselves, and they're so in their own little world. It's like they're just delusional. It's frightening.
Yeah, well, yes, it is a subscription that they create for themselves, and that's never going to be good enough. And I'm not sure if they actually look in the mirror when they're doing these procedures, but people, I mean, it's obvious. So why do it? You know, why not see who you are, do the little things that really enhance the beauty that you are? I'm not saying don't get facial or don't get a peel or whatever it is, but to continually, you know, set that example when it's obvious that your face isn't moving and obvious it looks painful. You know, even the biggest and the most beautiful stars, I tend to think, what would it have been like had they had that opportunity to fill their face? But now younger women are doing it, and that's what's concerning me. You know, I talk to 20-somethings that are doing so much and completely changing their looks, and I don't understand it. And because they have these other women in this business that are telling them it's okay, and you know, it's okay for them, and I'm not saying not to do it, and obviously they're huge A-list stars and they're making their way, and people are, you know, they're epitome of beauty, but to me, I feel it's an obvious, you know, beauty. It's not understated, and so women in their 20s are thinking, well, I better do this now, and it's breaking my heart because it's creating a lot more anxiety. It's creating focus in the wrong areas, their career and their self-worth. And I just feel, you know, I don't know what it's going to take for me to get out there and get a bigger platform to start to discuss these things, but I work with a lot of young people and have to as many young people quietly. So I'm hoping to have a bigger platform one day. You know, the film I just did not have the 60 pinpoints that mid-20s and process and dialogue that I don't think we've seen until maybe that. But you have Booksmart and you have Ibiza, and those films all did what they needed to do. But I feel there's such an honesty and authenticity to what we created, and I'm just hoping that it gets out there to have different conversations. And this generation starts to shift their focus a little bit, you know?
Yeah. You should start a podcast.
Anyway, but I'm with you, you know, whatever, because it does create something of an illusion. And so how does your soul not buy into that illusion if you're obsessed with the outside looking a certain way, you know?
Right.
Your soul just reacts to that. So sometimes I just don't even think these women understand that they're that self-absorbed, that, you know, they just think that's what it has to be, and I just don't feel that's true, you know?
Yeah. But, oh my God, you're so articulate. You should start a podcast. I really think that would be a great platform for you.
Thank you. Well, we'll get there one day, and I'm gonna buzz myself to get back on your show when we get a little more of a platform, and we'll go at it. How about that?
That would be great. That would be great. So, Nicole, there's...
No, yes.
Oh, go ahead. Hello?
I think I just lost Do you say that again? Yes, I can hear you now.
I was going to say, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I just, you've been such a great host, and I've loved our conversation, and I feel very lucky to, have been able to find you, and you found me, and, this has been, a really amazing time.
Oh, thank you.
About all of it.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Yes, now we're getting to the fun part at the very end of the podcast. So there's this game that I like to play with guests. It's kind of the anti-James Lipton questionnaire on Inside the Actor Studio. It's slumber party questions, and how this works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me the exact same question, and I answer it.
Oh, goodness. You're going to win. Okay, go ahead.
No, nobody wins. It's a comparison game. Nicole, are you ticklish?
Yes, I am ticklish. Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish, yes. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It's innie. Yours.
I have a deep innie.
Ooh, I like it. Mine's medium.
Really? How deep can your finger go in?
So that's lucky for me.
Wait, how far again? Sorry, you broke up. How far?
A little bit of half of a fingernail, something like that.
Okay.
Now maybe a full fingernail on the pinky. I'll check.
Yeah, mine.
I'll write the memo.
Yeah. Mine can go about to the knuckle. I mean, it's that deep. What color are your toenails painted?
They are painted at the moment a deeper maroon color. And I'm excited to hear what color your toenails are painted right now.
Oh, right now they are not painted, but last time they were purple with sparkles.
I love it. I've been there, done that. It's very grounding.
I get a lot of guys, straight guys, going, "What the fuck?"
You know what? They don't understand. It's okay. Purple is very grounding as a color, so I love it.
Yeah.
I instinctually put that on your toes. And we all need a little light in our life, so the sparkle is perfect.
Yeah. And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Oh, several. I'm confused on which one to say. I just feel like it's that sulfur smell that is like rotten eggs, and you think you can, deal with it, and you just can't.
Oh, yeah.
And then sometimes my sweaty armpits, and I don't tell anybody about it.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
And our own body odor is quite fascinating to us all, So I can't say, on one hand, crazy, but on the other hand, wow, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And how about for you? I'm very interested.
Either farts or feet.
Well, farts, depending, I think, right?
No, they're all pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess. All right. We'll go with that.
Yeah. I had pretty bad athlete's foot when I got out of the hospital from my accident because they didn't change my socks. I was very grumpy and they didn't want to go near me. And so for about 6 months it was pretty bad, and then I got it all cleared up.
Oh, my gosh. Well, good for you. I think we've all been there one time or another. But, yeah, men get that a lot, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Realize, they do. I think it's a feature.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, that was just your man cave. No one bothered you. Fine. I don't think the caveman in the day had anything to kind of help with their attitude, so you were fine.
Yeah. Exactly. And now, to end, I got some very funny jokes. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. You know the difference between a golf ball and a G-spot?
A golf ball and a G spot. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you know the difference between the two?
Probably, considering my love life the last 10 years, I don't. But I tend to feel like I do somehow.
A man will spend 20 minutes looking for a golf ball.
Don't get me started. Don't
Yeah.
get me started.
Exactly.
I can elaborate on that, I told you.
I'm a rare exception.
Exactly.
You know,
Oh my goodness, I love it.
you know why men... What?
Okay, I can hear you now. Say.
You know why men like to marry virgins?
Why?
Because they can't stand criticism.
Oh, that's sad. Well, you can send all those men over my way. They don't have to worry about criticism, my friend. Oh, my goodness. That's horrible. I wish I could maintain a joke like that. My father had a million of them, which I listened to constantly. I could never retain a joke in my brain. I don't know why.
Yeah. I have so many jokes. I love jokes, ones that are from the public domain, ones I wrote, just so many different ones. I've always been that way.
I love those. I love the story ones too, when you one story and then it goes somewhere. Hopefully it does, but those are the days I used to hear a lot of those.
Oh, I have
guys.
I have the ultimate story joke. Oh my God. So Cinderella is about to go to the ball, and she's on her period, and the fairy godmother gives her these magic tampons and says, okay, you can go to the ball, but you have to be home by midnight or else they will turn into a pumpkin. She says, okay, fairy godmother, I will. So then 12:30 rolls around, fairy godmother's pacing around the house because Cinderella hasn't shown up. But then Cinderella does show up at 4 a.m., stumbling drunk. And she says, where were you? You were supposed to be home at midnight. And Cinderella says, I'm so sorry, fairy godmother. I met this great guy. Peter.
No. Oh my God. I have to process what I feel about that joke, but that was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Awesome, my friend. Fantastic.
The creepy smirk I do after the punchline sells it, but too bad you can't see it.
I know. I feel it. It's okay. It's great. You tell that to a millennial, they're going to go, huh?
Oh, yeah. When I started doing stand-up in 2006, that was the beginning of woke before the word even existed. And, oh, my God, so much awkward silence. Back then, this is before social media became what it is now. So back then,
I know.
There was just a lot of awkward silence, and they were playing on their little laptops and drinking their coffee and shit, because we're in coffee houses. And it was just insane. I was like, God, I hope this is not going to be the future. And then it was. It's worse.
It really is. What people are laughing at, but whatever. It is what it is, so we just move forward.
Exactly. Well, Nicole, this has been so lovely. I'm so glad we did this today.
Me too. And thank you for reaching out. I really, again, very, very happy anytime, to get back on different times of the year.
You're always welcome. Again. Yeah, you're always welcome back. And by the way, my mom's birthday is also February 21st.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Oh, well, great. We're bonded. I see the best.
Yeah. Well, this joke I have in my act, I say, I grew up in a very challenging household. My dad's an alcoholic. My mom's a Pisces.
Okay, mister. Well, I can't disagree with you on that.
My dad's a Pisces too. He's March 4th.
Oh, no, you poor thing. I don't even know how you made it through, but you did.
Well, my grandmother, her birthday was July 20th, and I say that we were cancer survivors.
I love it. They did good. You did good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you too, Lem.
I'll talk to you again. We can connect on Facebook. And
all right. It's a pleasure, hon. Have a great day.
You too. Have a great day. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Nicole Rio. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my God. She's funny, intelligent, very passionate about the things that she cares about. And fuck the phone for cutting out. But we did good, though. This is a solid episode. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!